Welcome to another episode of the Live Happy, Healthy, and Inspired podcast. The podcast all about learning how to live a happy, healthy, and inspired life. I'm your host, Brad, a once upon a time overweight, lethargic, low self-esteem couch potato that turned it all around. My mission now is to empower you, the listener, with the strategies, tips, and advice for what it takes so that you too can live happy, healthy, and inspired.
What's up, my friends? Welcome to another Midweek Chat with Jasmin. I'm your host, Jasmin Bryant, helping coaches, speakers, network marketers, and small business owners to get out of their own way and become the badass business person they're meant to be by being visible through being on camera and being all the places that you want to be where your ideal clients and customers can see you. And today I'm super pumped because we have Brad Carlson. He is a motivational wellness coach, a trail runner, a martial artist, an American Red Cross, an international volunteer, and my personal favorite, a world traveler. He is the creator of the Mind Strong Principles for Better Performance and practicing spiritual practitioner. So Brad, welcome.
Thank you, Jasmin. I'm so excited to be here. Appreciate the opportunity to be on your show and have a midweek chat with you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. I'm really happy that you're here. And, before I jump into asking you what your favorite place is,
It's a hard question too, actually.
Right. Just tell us a little. I gave you like the nickel version of who you are, but tell us a little bit more about who you are and what you do.
You know, I like to answer that question. I'm just a regular guy like anybody else. I'm not any fancy schmancy, got it all figured out guru or anything. Far, far from that. I'm just someone that 15 years ago didn't like who they were. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like my life. I didn't like anything. I had very low self-esteem. And I had no clue at the time that I was going to set out on a 15-year journey to completely transform my life and change it completely. But that's what has happened. And now here I am. And so kind of the moral of that story is it doesn't matter who you are, what you have going on in your life. You can change, you can transform. It's absolutely possible. And I know that because I'm sitting here now talking to you. I did it. And so I know anybody can do it.
That is amazing. Can you tell us what was it that shifted for you? Because there's so many people who may be in the same position where it's like, I don't like who I am right now.
Yeah.
I don't like whatever it is, whether it's how they look, how they feel, their job, their relationship. What changed for you? Like, what was the final push that said, okay, Brad, we have to change who we are right now?
Yeah, that's a great question. It started out, this is what I like to say, I was this lethargic, overweight, very low self-esteem. I say very low, but I actually had no self-esteem. So I should say zero self-esteem, couch potato, and then jump ahead 15 years. I say now I'm happy, healthy, and inspired. And what changed for me was it was 15 years ago. I still remember this like it was yesterday. I was at home, still married at the time, sitting on my bed in my bedroom and looking down at this gut that I had accumulated. I had 50 pounds of extra baggage, all sitting in my gut. I'll just say this, I have a 32, 33 inch waist now. I had a 42, 43 inch waist at one point.
Oh, wow.
I remember that. So what changed was I had become very disgusted at the person that I had become. I had become disgusted. I had become in shock and disbelief. Like, how did this happen? How did I become this person? I had no clue at that time. I just thought I'm, for lack of a better term, fat and overweight. I didn't know anything about the low self-esteem or lack of self-belief or self-confidence or self-worth. I wouldn't understand that till much later. But it just started out with, I'm that one fateful day on the couch when I looked down and just something said, this isn't right. This has to change. But the funny part about that story, that was November 2009. And so I set that goal to, okay, I'm going to just start exercising like everybody does. I'm going to start exercising and lose weight. Well, it didn't even last one day for me. I didn't even get out of the gate. A year goes by, in November 2010, I'm in the exact same spot. like still overweight, still everything, low self-esteem, lethargic, couch potato, no meaning, no direction, no anything. Later I would learn depressed. I didn't fully understand that at the time. That understanding would come much later. But I looked down again, and now I always say that year of failure was my best year because it gave me the secret weapon that I needed. And I think this is the secret weapon everybody needs for any journey that you're on, and that's determination. I became very determined after that year of failure to, okay, let's do something here. Let's do anything here. So that was the first drop in the pond, so to speak, that then started the ripple that led me to where I am today. But it was that year of failure that, oh my God, I'm just absolutely disgusted with who I've become. That was I don't want to say rock bottom for me, but that's what initiated the transformation. That's what initiated the change. And for most people, it takes getting to rock bottom, and I hate to say this, for that initiation to transform their life or whatever.
Yeah.
And what I would like to come on here and say is, don't wait for that. Don't wait for the heart attack. Don't wait for the major health issue. Start now. Wherever you're at, you can start. And I honestly, I'm living proof. I don't care how low your self-worth is, how low your and again, I'm using the word low. That implies that you at least have a little teeny tiny bit. I had none. I had no self-esteem, no self-worth, no self-confidence, no self-belief, none of that. But I started anyway. And slowly over the past 15 years, I found the most important thing that I was looking for, and that was me. And that's what the journey is really all about, is finding who you are. And here I am today. So I went from lethargic, overweight, zero self-esteem couch potato to this happy, healthy, inspired that's, now getting to talk with people like you.
No, that's amazing. Like, that is absolutely beautiful. And, one of the things, like, my whole thing is helping women become more visible. And when you're talking about the low or no self-esteem, that is a lot of that's a big issue that holds people back from being on camera, putting themselves out there, to be the face of their business, the face of their brand. And, I love that you said, we just have to do it, and don't wait until you hit rock bottom. And don't wait until there's nothing left.
Here's the biggest thing I learned along this journey. Confront whatever you have going on inside of you, like right away, immediately. That's one of the most important things I've learned. So looking back now, I understand a lot of this, but during the journey I didn't. But I felt this for many, many years. I felt low self-worth. I felt low self-esteem. I felt lack of confidence in myself. I felt a lack of belief in myself. I had this little tiny voice in the back of my head saying, I don't believe in myself. I don't believe that I can do this, and I didn't address that feeling right away head on immediately. And that's the first thing I would say is your body, your biofeedback system, whatever, you're going to feel something. And if it's in terms of low self-worth, you're going to know that. Or if you feel depressed, you're going to know that. Now, I would say that's a golden egg, because now you have an opportunity to address that head on. So when I started finally understanding that, I feel low self-esteem, what am I going to do about this? I finally realized, I need to confront this head on. So I did, by just getting out my journal, and I asked myself, what is causing me to have low self-esteem? And boy, that just opened up a floodgate, that question right there, when I journaled the answer to that question. And I had so many limiting beliefs. I had limiting beliefs to my limiting beliefs to my limiting beliefs. I mean, it was just crazy. I had been told, like many of us, we are imprinted and programmed as a child growing up. I had been told things. I had heard things from some influential people and whatnot. And I believed a lot of what people said about me and had told me growing up. Brad, you're a peon. Brad, you won't amount to anything. Brad, I can write on the tip of my finger what you know about life or anything. Stuff like that. And that's what caused my low self-esteem. And then I had to, another very powerful question to ask yourself, well, what is the opposite of low self-esteem? High self-esteem.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do I go from low self-esteem to high self-esteem? That's the question I had to ask myself. And I got my journal out, and the first thing it says was, you have to learn to value yourself. I was like, oh. I thought for a second, you know what? I don't value myself at all. And so I started to just value, it's the baby steps, the little things. Like,
Yeah.
Brad, I really value that, you have you keep your home clean, just little stuff like that. Brad, I really value that you get up and go to work every day, stuff like that. And as I started working more through this process, it was, the answers came to me. Oh, learn to respect yourself. And I went, oh my God, I don't respect myself at all. And so it was the little stuff. Wow, Brad, looking back at Brad, you got on a plane and went to Japan all by yourself. That's pretty cool. And it was so starting to point out all the good stuff in my life that I had done is how I learned to value myself and respect myself. And then I started to add to that, learn to appreciate yourself. Learn to admire yourself. Learn to, what were some other ones? Learn to be proud of yourself. That was a big
That's
one.
the big one. Yeah.
Yeah, learn to be proud. And it's like, oh my God, I was like, Brad, I have a college degree. I have a master's degree. Be proud of yourself. That's a big deal. Like, it
Yeah.
never occurred to me. I mean, that's a pretty big deal, getting a degree like that. And so I just, Brad, you got up and went for a run this morning. I'm so proud that you did that. So those were the big ones. And then the biggest one of all was I had to learn to love myself.
Mm-hmm.
Learning to love myself. And then another one I'll add in there was learning to forgive myself. And the main thing I had to forgive myself for was that I had beat myself up internally for so many years. Brad, you can't do it. Brad, you're not worthy. Brad, you're not enough. All these fake, false stories that I had told
Yeah.
myself. I didn't start to understand any of this, though, until about 5 or 6 years into my journey, because at first it was just all about the physical. The exercise or the learning to eat right or any of that. I had no clue that, I had this low self-esteem issue to deal with that led to, like I said, a whole nother can of worms, low self-worth, lack of self-belief, self-confidence. But once I asked that question, what is causing me to have low self-esteem, that opened up a whole can of worms. And it was tough. I did it with my journal and just got it out there. And I went through issue by issue by issue. For anybody listening, I always like to stress this point. We are taught in our society and our culture to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
But whenever we say that work hard, it's always in reference to your job and what you're
Right.
doing,
Not yourself.
not yourself.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Brad, you're frozen. Or am I frozen? Uh-oh. Oh my. I wonder if it's my internet or if it's Brad's internet. I'm going to go on Facebook and see where we are here. Uh-oh.
But whenever we say that work hard,
Where we are here. Okay, so it looks like, so I'm live on Facebook still, so I can see myself. It looks like Brad is frozen. Hopefully he will be back soon. But while we wait for Brad's internet to return, I will drop in the chat his Google Drive, a gift that he has for you all. And also I have a gift here. It's a new guide. I love creating new guides. This is 5 ways to turn your content into cash. So go to videostocash.com and you can grab that. But one of the things that Brad was talking about that I think is really important for anyone who's on any type of journey, whether it's a physical journey to better health, whether it's a mindful journey to a healthier mindset, whether it's a business journey to get yourself and your brand more visible. It's to learn how to love yourself and how to forgive yourself. And so he's messaging me. So just give me 1 second. Log back in. Okay. Let's see. Great. He's on his way back, guys. So this is what happens when you're live. They don't always work. But we just keep going. So while we wait for him to come back, when you learn to forgive yourself, learn to love yourself, learn and really focus on your why and what you're doing, why you're doing it, how you're doing it becomes so much easier. And that's whether you are on a fitness journey like Brad was when he started, whether you're on a mindfulness journey like so many people are, or whether you're on a journey to, again, make your business the most successful and the most profitable that it can be, then you just need to know who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. And, I love that he's been talking about like this low self-esteem and low self-worth, because that is really one of the things that just keeps so many of us from living to our full potential. So, he's got a wealth of information. And again, he's on his way back in. Sorry about that, internet. What are you going to do? And I think this happened. I know it happened to me a couple of weeks ago. My internet just died. It just went away right in the middle of a chat. Just like, oops, what are you going to do? So yeah, what are you going to do? All right. So, another thing when we're talking about being visible and being seen, you really want to focus on you. And, I'll always say that you are not the story that you're telling to your audience. Your audience wants to know who you are, but they want to know why they should care. And usually you're not the reason why they should care. But when you focus on who you are and what you do, then it makes it just a little bit more. Hold on. No. Sorry, I thought he popped back on, but he did not. But when you're focused on that, it just helps you to be just a little bit more. It's a little less pressure. It's a little less pressure, if that makes any sense at all. And if you're not focused on being perfect, then that's also a lot less pressure. Hold on, let me give him the link again. Okay, sorry guys. Okay. It's not letting him back on the site. So hopefully he'll be back in a second. I just gave him the link again. But, focusing on not being perfect is such a great key to confidence, because you'll see these influencers on your social media feeds. You'll see these mega YouTubers that look like they just have it all going together. And they probably don't. They, number one, have a team, right? So if you're solo dolo, you don't have a team yet, that's okay. You don't need one. You can, muddle your way through. They also may have been doing this a lot longer. So you can't judge your point A from someone else's point Q. Do you know what I mean? You can't judge where you're starting from if someone's in the middle of their journey. So hold on one second. Let's see. All right. He's trying to get back on, guys. Here he is. Hold on. Welcome back, Brad.
Yay, the wonders of technology, huh?
I was telling the audience that that actually happened to me a couple of weeks ago, maybe like sometime last month, doing a live chat. It was one of our midweek chats. My internet just went, we were done. And that's really bad when you're the host, but
Thanks everyone for being patient with us.
Yeah. It's live. Things happen. And the internet is an unpredictable place.
It is. It is cyberspace and all that. Well,
Yeah.
thanks everyone for sticking around. Thanks, Jasmine.
Yeah, no worries. And so what I was telling folks right before you came back on, was, one of the things that you were talking about was, just again, like loving yourself and being
Hmm.
yourself, knowing who you are, getting to know yourself.
Yeah.
And I was saying how, that goes into like letting go of that fear of having to be perfect and
Mm,
not judging your starting point from someone else's midpoint, because we'll compare ourselves to everyone and everything 24 hours a day if we could. And that's not healthy for our bodies, our minds, our spirit.
mm.
And, someone may be in the middle, like someone could be looking at you and saying, well, he's got this all together. Well, you're 15 years into your journey
I am.
where
Yeah. It took
they're
me 15
starting
years. Yeah.
from day one, you know?
Yeah. The funny thing, one of the things I learned along the way is that I used my mind, I guess, my mindset, and I didn't even know this for so long to beat myself up.
Hmm.
And it was a big awakening, maybe only 2, 3 years ago, that, what if I use my mind to build myself up?
Yeah.
Oh, what a difference that would make. And so I really started to learn, we talk about affirmations. I am happy, I am healthy, I am worthy, I am enough.
Hmm.
And for so long I said those to myself, but the problem was I didn't believe them. And
Yeah.
that's because I was still using my mind to to tear myself down. And then that day when I started to use my mind to build myself up, I started saying, what if I really am worthy? What if that really is true? And I was like, oh
Hmm.
my God, that actually is true. I am worthy. I am enough just the way I am. And
Yeah.
you know what? No two journeys are alike. No two snowflakes are alike. But my
Hmm.
snowflake is not any better or any worse than anybody else's. My journey is
Yeah.
my journey. My life is my life, and it's for me. It's perfect just the way it is. So I really started to build myself up, and that has been one of the biggest differences over the past 3 years. How I was able to
Hmm.
recapture my self-worth and self-esteem
Yeah.
was just not just using my mind to build myself up, but building up my entire state. Because when you're constantly beating yourself down, you're in this real low vibe state, low energy
Yeah.
state, and it's hard to break that. And so you've got this nervous system that's just been conditioned for apathy, for lack of a better word. And so I had to recondition the nervous system to be conditioned for enthusiasm, for
Hmm.
energy, for excitement, for all these kind of great things. And it just started with, I'm proud of you, Brad. I'm proud that you did this, or I respect the fact that you said this, or that you got this done, or just little steps like that. Just slowly started to build myself up till that light bulb went off that I can really, really build myself up
Yeah.
now. Let's build a freaking empire right here that is Brad Carlson. So,
Yeah. No, I love that because again, it's one of those things. It's a skill, and it's
yeah.
something you have to practice doing. You're not going to wake up tomorrow and
Mhm.
say, "Okay, yep, I've got the whole world on my shoulders. I've got this. I can do this." And it's a process. And Pretty Woman is one of my favorite movies,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a
Walking
line in
down the
there.
street. Yeah, I like that movie too.
There's a line where it's like where Julia Roberts' character says, the bad stuff is easier to believe.
It is.
And
Boy, that's true. Wow, it is.
yeah, and so there's a lot of conditioning, like you said, that you have to get through, no matter what your journey is, whether it's a business journey or if it's a physical health journey, it's a mental health journey. You've got this huge hurdle to jump over, which is all of the baggage that
Yeah.
has been following you around since you were a kid.
And you know what I've learned to about this journey too is just love yourself no matter what your baggage is. Everybody's going to
Mhm.
have baggage. A lot of that baggage is beyond your control from
Yeah.
parents, from friends, from school, from society. And that's another thing I was beating myself up for. Like I didn't even give myself this baggage, but I'm blaming myself for this
Yeah.
baggage. So yeah, it's learning to just one step at a time. Just appreciate yourself, value yourself, respect yourself, believe in yourself, forgive yourself. That was a huge one, and then love yourself. And like I was saying before, the internet went kapooey there. We're so conditioned in our culture, and this is especially true for men. Well, it's true for men and women, but to work hard at our jobs. But when it comes to working hard on ourselves, men, that's the self-work, the self-inner journey that men kind of get standoffish with, because it goes against our machismo. We think, well, I'm not going to be a real man if I do this. We'll see whatever inner work. But nothing for men right now, nothing will make you more of a man than doing the inner work, because you'll become the person that you're meant to be, that your partner, your spouse will deeply appreciate in the long term. But the point is, male or female, whatever, anywhere in between, you have to work harder on yourself than you do your job. You have to work 10 times harder on finding your peace, finding your joy, because guess what? It is there.
Yes.
It's absolutely there, and the work that you do will be so worth it. And I'll tell you, you don't need expensive therapists or anything like that. I just used my journal. That's been my main technique for I don't know how many years now. I just write the questions. This is another powerful question I wrote for myself. I remember this. What's blocking me from believing in myself?
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, and again, what made me ask that question was I felt something inside. Anytime you feel something inside that's not right, you just know your intuition is telling you something's not right here. What's blocking my energy from flowing? What's blocking my light from shining today? Or why is my dark light shining today, or whatever? What's blocking my bright light from shining today? Ask yourself that very simple but very powerful question. Well, because I'm not feeling worthy today. Okay, well, what about me? Am I not feeling worthy? And just keep going and keep going, and just until you get that answer. And I've been doing this for so long now. In some cases, I would journal like pages and pages, like half hour or an hour, before I finally got that answer. It's like, oh, okay, now I get it. Now that block has been cleared, because it's about clearing these blocks that we have that were put there ever since we were born. But again, I was blaming myself for blocks that were put there that I didn't even put there. Somebody, called me a peon when I was very little. Someone told me I was I don't even want to repeat some of the names that I was called in school, but we all have things. But the problem was I was holding on to all of that, and I was believing all of that, and I was blaming all of that it was my fault. And I had to let go of all of that. And along the way, I've also learned, this is an important part of the journey, from transforming from lethargic, overweight, low self-esteem couch potato to happy, healthy, and inspired. To create the new, you have to do what? You have to let go of the old.
Yeah, kind of burn it down.
Yeah, and I was holding on to the old for up until about 3-4 years ago. I was really struggling to become the new. I think about 3 years ago, I finally, again, I felt that struggle of becoming the new, but I hadn't confronted it head on. So finally, after about a year, I sat down with my journal and I confronted it head on. Well, what's blocking me from becoming the new? And then in my journaling process, the answer came to me because I was holding on to the old. You can't create a new by holding on to the old. And I've since learned you can't create anything new with the old energy.
Yeah.
So you've got to create that new energy, so that happy, healthy, and inspired energy versus the low self-esteem, lethargic, overweight couch potato energy. So yeah, so it's been wonderful. But yeah, it's been 15 years for me. You're right, Jasmin. This doesn't happen overnight. But my point of all this is, and everybody I've interviewed, says the same thing. You've got to do the work on yourself. And again, don't think you need therapy or expensive therapy or anything. And if you want to go that route, that's fine. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. I think everybody should go to therapy. It's like tuning up your car, or tune up your mental well-being, once a month or something. The society will thank you for it. Your coworkers will thank you for it. Your spouse, your partner, all of that stuff. So.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we just have like a couple of minutes left, and the internet wasn't doing us any favors. But I have another live stream right after.
Sure.
But I do want to ask you before we go, because I'm so fascinated by like your martial arts. I was a kickboxer.
Oh, okay.
Not professionally or anything, because I don't like getting hit. But
hard not to when you're kickboxing. Hard not to get hit.
That is true. That is true. I'm pretty short, so my instructor taught me all these illegal moves in case I got attacked when I was walking my dog at 4:00 in the morning.
Those are the ones that work and the ones that you should know. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But it was fun. But like you've got all the volunteering that you do. You're a trail runner. You're a martial artist. How do all of those impact what you do? Like how do they influence like the creation of your program?
All of those speak to who I am. So when you ask who is Brad Carlson, all of that speaks to who I am. And there's a part of me that says, oh, martial arts, do that. There's a part of me that wants to, volunteer Red Cross. There's a part of me that, says, oh, trail running or whatever, being outdoors, connected to nature. The reason I trail run now is very, very different from the reason I trail run 10 years ago. But all of this creates who I am, which then helps me to create the next version of who I am, if that makes sense. Because all of this, I can put together what I've learned in a book. A lot of everything I've learned in life, literally over the last 15 years, I put in that book. Some lessons were from martial arts, or some lessons were from my overseas travels, or something like that. So I guess the best way to answer your question is just it creates who I am, which then creates the next level of who I am. Nowadays, I'm always following that next nudge, that next intuition that says, go here, do this, try this. I don't worry about if I'll succeed or fail. That doesn't even cross my mind anymore. I'm all about what does life have to offer? Living life to the fullest for me means experiencing as much as I can. If I'm successful, even better. If I fail, it's not the end of the world. Life goes on. So.
Love that. Oh, that is a great place to end it. Thank you so much. While you were gone, I dropped in your link to your gift, but I didn't know what it was. So can you tell us quickly?
Sure. Real quick, it's just a 30-day wellness program, wellness program to greater health, happiness, and joy in your life. It's very simple. It's a step-by-step.
Nice.
Day 1, do this. Day 2 through 4, do this. Day 5 through 7, do this. And each day guides you through a certain set of exercises or modalities or meditations that you can do to manage your stress, decompress, get rid of some of the garbage that we've been holding on to, all kinds of stuff like that. So it's a 30-day wellness program.
Ah, I love that. And let me, I was going to try to drop it in again, but I don't think I can. I'll do it after. But the link is there, guys. If you're watching the replay, you can just click there and go grab that guide. Well, Brad Carlson, thank you so much for being with us today and for coming back after the internet snafu.
Yay. Well, thank you, Jasmin. It's been a truly honor to be on your show with you today. Thank you for having me.
Oh, no, my pleasure. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And you guys will see you on Friday. And I think on Friday, we're talking about fear of judgment, which kind of really leads into, it leans back into what we were talking about today. So that should be really fun.
That's another one.
Yeah. Fear of judgment. Number one thing, holding people back from being the best that they can be. So there's your preview, guys. All right. I will see you all on Friday. And again, thank you for joining us for another midweek chat. Brad, thank you again for being such a great guest. And bye for now, guys.